how they do the 5, 4, 3. So here we go, episode 24 of the Metal Blog. Thank you everybody out there for joining us. We are so excited. This is going to be a special episode. We're not really going to get down and review an album or anything like that. We're just going to talk to a fellow musician, Ryan Kuder from Carrion Vael, and he's going to talk to us about what's going on in his life with the music world and what they're coming out with. He's also got some other projects that we're going to get into and hopefully get to dive and just get a little bit of his world so that everybody can see and get to enjoy some of it. So without further ado, Ryan, we're so glad to have you here with us tonight.
Thanks for having me. I'm glad to be here.
And Brando, he's going to do some question asking. So let's get started, guys.
Yeah. What's up, blockheads? Brutal Brando here, hanging out with Zoomy, Harry Satch, and Ryan Kuder. How's it going, Ryan?
Doing pretty well.
Awesome, man. So you play guitar in two pretty awesome bands that I know of, Carrion Vael and Severed Head Shop. Is that right?
Right.
Awesome. So do you have any other projects that you are a part of?
So those are the main two things that I've been active with in the last few years. I have a new thing in the works with some material I've been writing for the last couple of years called Entangled in Parasites. But that's just, we have an album written. We're in the process of recording it. We've never really done any live shows or anything like that yet. So that's a very green project still. The other two have been playing live and have music out, all the fun stuff.
Awesome. Cool. Is there any social media for, you said Entangled Parasites, is that right?
Entangled in Parasites.
Okay.
That has all the main things: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. We've got that stuff started up. A few like music samples and things, but nothing that's really released yet. I'm hoping we'll get like an advanced like single or something we can put out before like an official album will be out eventually. But for now, it's kind of in its very early stages still.
All right, cool. We can relate to that. The three of us used to play in a band together, and we've recently started kind of like going green again, like kind of dipping our toes back in the water. So we know how that is.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So can you tell us a little bit about your history with metal and like kind of how'd you get into it and kind of your metal upbringing?
Sure. So pretty much from the beginning of getting into music, it's been pretty much the heavier side of things. The Black Album was the first CD I bought. And once I had that, my dad was like, check out these records. So I kind of found like Black Sabbath and moved on a little bit further that way. Once I finally had a guitar and everything, my first band was more like a blackened death metal band in high school. Still play with that drummer. He's been in Carrion Vael as a live drummer in the past. So that band put out like an album and an EP. It was called Necrotica, and broke up at the end of high school. And I went to college, ended up doing visual art instead of music. So for that like 5 years, I really just didn't get out to play very much, just too busy doing that. But since then, it's been just kind of like 2014 on, it's been all just music. Joined Severed Head Shop in 2014. We have a demo and an EP that have been released since then. And about the same time that EP came out, I joined Carrion Vael. They were on their Abhorrent Obsessions CD cycle at that time. They were just finishing up in the studio. So I'm not actually on the album, but I joined while they were finishing it up. So I've kind of filled the role of live guitarist for their whole kind of that album cycle, and I'm on their newest album now as well.
Awesome. Hell yeah, man. So what kind of bands are you listening to now? So like you do a lot of driving, right? So what are you cranking in your car while you're driving around?
Oh man, I have the most schizophrenic playlist that nobody else would ever want to hear. So it can be death metal and black metal from one second, then the next second it's like pop and jazz and hip hop and whatever else. I've been kind of dipping back into Warforged after the tour that we just did, just getting a little bit of that nostalgia, being on the road. Been listening to a bit of Enigmatum, band I like with Pierce Williams from Skeletal Remains. Great band.
I haven't heard that one. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, highly recommend. There's so much, it's almost hard to think of just a few things when I'm on the spot.
Yeah. There's so many bands out there, so much stuff to listen to. It's hard to think of all of it. So
What was the name of that band you said you were listening to?
Enigmatum.
Enigmatum.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
It's kind of techy. It's a little bit of everything kind of wrapped into one, but it's a really weird style of kind of technical metal, I guess.
Cool. Check it out.
Yeah, highly recommend.
Always looking for good stuff.
awesome. And you're from Indiana, is that correct?
Yep. South Bend.
South Bend. What's the local metal scene like there? Do you get out to local shows much? Is there a pretty big scene?
It's not much. Where I'm at, it allows me to get to like Chicago, Indianapolis, various parts of Michigan that do have a little bit bigger scenes pretty easily. So if I'm going to a show, more times than not, that ends up being what's happening. Fort Wayne, Indiana, Lafayette, Indiana, those places tend to have a little bit better of a scene as well. But South Bend, like Severed Head Shop, might play once a year and get a decent turnout, and we know better than to try and push it any more than that. Which it is what it is. We've dealt with it since high school, so the workarounds to kind of get out there and still.
Yeah, we know about that in Oklahoma for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did a lot of driving to Dallas to see shows.
I remember we
in
finally
college,
first
like-
went out of Dallas, and it was like, "What is this? This is amazing!"
Yeah.
A shitload of people at a show actually.
How far
Yeah.
of a drive?
Yeah, a lot of people.
Yeah, for sure.
Like a couple hour drive for you guys?
Yeah, it's like 3.5, probably.
About
Yeah.
3.
For me, it's like
Yeah.
3:40, about 3:45. About it's not bad at all.
That's coming from
Yep.
Tulsa.
That's the
Hey, sorry, there was one thing that kind of made me. You mentioned Sabbath. I'm jumping back just a hair, but you mentioned listening to some Sabbath, and I actually was wondering if you were like the Sabbath or the Zeppelin guy as far as your upbringing, because I always kind of hear that you're really one or the other. Or I'm sorry, I said this wrong. Sabbath or Kiss. You're either Sabbath and Zeppelin, or you're Kiss and Van Halen. Like those are kind of the metal splits on a lot of people whenever they're talking about their upbringing. So you mentioned Sabbath. I'm guessing.
Zeppelin.
Are you also a
nailed
Zeppelin
it.
fan?
Yeah.
It's
That's funny.
Oh yeah, I mean, I like that too. I like the other guys just as well. Give me some Van Halen and I'll have some fun with that too. But yeah, I'm definitely like the Sabbath Zeppelin side, no doubt.
Absolutely.
the Sabbath,
Nice.
Bloody Sabbath was my sweet spot for them. Although
Oh, yeah.
Dio stuff was also great too, so I'm all over the place.
I'll tell you, I had a proud father moment whenever my son was probably about 5 years old, and we're driving in my truck, and it's actually Ozzy. It was like Bark at the Moon or something like that. And no, it was Sabbath, and he said, "Is this Ozzy Osbourne?"
Nice.
And I said, "Yes, it is, son. Black Sabbath." Yeah. So, anyways, my bad.
Oh, I love it.
That's awesome, dude. So Ryan, I actually had not heard of Carrion Vael before. I guess what was that, November or December? You were filling in for Summoning the Lich. and you on the Rags to Riffage tour with, I think that was in Fury, First
In Fury.
Fragment. Yeah, like, man, that was a killer show. And I remember watching Summoning the Lich and like watching you do solos and stuff. And I was like, damn, these guys are awesome, because I had never seen Summoning either. I went on social media afterwards, started following them, and saw that you were actually like subbing in. And I was like, oh, he's not a part of it. Who is this guy? What else is he in? And that's how I found Carrion Vael, and I saw Severed Head Shop and stuff, dude. And I love both. The fucking is awesome, by the way. I was listening to that this afternoon. It's just, I had listened to it before, but I was just like, I want to check it out again, and it's cool. I love the way it starts, like all those little samples mashed together real quick. Like, it's cool. And self-glorification, like that's the but yeah, I was wondering, long story short to the question, I guess, was, how did you get hooked up with that gig? Like, filling in with Summoning the Lich? Like, did you already know them, or like, how did you get hooked up with that?
Yeah, so Lich has kind of been intertwined in my entire run with Carrion Vael so far. When I joined, Carrion was doing the Abhorrent Obsessions album, and Lich was also in the process of getting their last album out too. Those were both done in the same studio. I think they had actually played maybe a show or two together before I joined. And then Lich was also, like, they played our CD release show. They played a few other shows with us. I think the first show I ever played that, like, technically sold out, not my crowd, someone else's crowd, but it was a show with Summoning the Lich. So we just we had a lot of time and shows and stuff to become friends. And their guitar player, Ryan, had just bought a house. He had some things going on with work where he just was not going to be able to make that tour, but they wanted to make that tour happen. So they had a friend who they thought would be reliable, and they hit me up. And fortunately, I don't think I let them down too much.
Man, I don't think so. I thought you did great. Like, I had no idea you were just filling in like that. I thought you were just part of the band. Like, it was fantastic. I thought you did a great job. So
thank you.
Kudos.
It was a really fun dynamic with those guys. Definitely from learning their guitar player Ryan's parts, it's something that'll leave a very lasting impression on my playing style. I would say some of the Entangled and Parasites definitely have a little bit of that kind of imprinted on them, for sure.
All right. Very cool, man. I'm looking forward to hearing some of that new project of yours, the Entangled in Parasites. Yeah. So I'll keep an eye out for seeing that. I'm going to go follow your social media and stuff, and for that band, so I could make sure I catch when something comes out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So are there any other bands that you've had the opportunity to like fill in for individual shows or tours or anything?
Not really. Earlier in that year, I almost did some fill-in work for Between the Killings. It's a project that the drummer from Severed Head Shop also has going on. But for me to do that fill-in work, it would have just ended up being a lot more money for them than was even slightly practical. So we just all kind of backed down on that. Other than that, there's something that might come up a little bit later in this year, but nothing I can really announce yet.
Okay.
But nothing else in the past, really. It's just been Carrion Vael, Severed Head Shop, and my high school band.
Well, cool. And Summoning the Lich, I guess.
Well, yeah. That's the first one.
Yeah. And I know you guys just did that tour recently with the all right, the name of the tour gets me every time. I know it's like the Quest of the Middle Earth, the Middle West, or like
Middle West Metal Quest.
Yes, it's like a tongue twister, but man, what a fun lineup of bands! Like you had mentioned, Warforged, and somebody Lich was on it with you guys. Now, I had never heard Warforged before, and I was super impressed. They're very eclectic. Like the sound is very different, like from song to song. I thought it was very cool. But I was wondering, like, how was the tour overall, man? I mean, I know Houston show was kind of dead. Like, there wasn't a whole lot of people. Was there pretty good turnouts in some of the other cities?
Yeah, the Houston and Dallas were kind of the low side of the tour, but otherwise it was a pretty good one. It's, I mean, not nearly as big as the Inferi tour, just as a given per the size of the bands. But I mean, every night we had definitely a turnout that made it worth our drive for sure.
Awesome.
I think that night just had there was a little bit of poor communication with the person that was running those couple of nights, and just didn't get promoted the way they were supposed to be. But everything else kind of went over without a hitch by and large. Lich lost a couple of tires throughout the tour, but they made it to every show, so I can't complain.
Yeah, and you mentioned Ryan. Is Ryan the gentleman with the bitchin' mustache?
Yeah, the excellent mustache.
Yes, man, that thing is awesome. But actually,
smart.
when I showed up to the secret group for your Houston date, like I saw some feet sticking out from underneath the trailer. I went over there. I was like, "You need some help, man?" But I guess he works on vehicles and stuff, right? Is he a mechanic?
He is a mechanic. I believe TJ, their drummer, also is some kind of mechanic by trade. I hope I'm not getting that wrong and pissing him off, but they really saved our ass even on the tour they weren't on. Like we had all sorts of shit go wrong with the van, and we were actually calling Ryan at his day job, and he was on Zoom like directing us on how to I think change an alternator and whatever else. So he's
cool.
A hero. Yeah, someone that's definitely great to have on tour.
Yeah, I told him, I was like, well, let me know if you need a tool or something. The back of my truck is full of them, so But it seemed like he had it handled, so I was like, cool, all right.
He's the man.
Were there any crazy events or anything cool stories from this recent tour that you'd like to share?
I mean, we didn't get into any too crazy of hijinks. I mean, getting to go to the Gulf on Pensacola and just kind of enjoy the night beach was awesome. I think our vocalist Travis was off getting himself kicked out of a titty bar at the same time, so that's probably a story for him to tell. But the rest of us, I think we're good boys. We always comb our hair.
Yeah, all right. I like that. Always comb your hair. That's
Nice.
good.
Nice.
Stealing that from our bass player Al.
Was that?
Stealing that one from our bass player Al.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I had the privilege of meeting Al at the show in Houston. We hung out at the bar for, I don't know, 10 or 15 minutes, kind of chatting. So that was cool. Nice. Super nice guy. That is
the place to find Al.
Yeah.
There at the bar.
Yeah, he was very cool dude.
Great guy.
It was nice chatting with him for a little while. And man, you guys were all killer live. That was a very cool show. I was glad I got a little bit of video footage of it to post.
Thank you. That's the first tour we've been playing half of those songs. The entire time I've been in the band, we've had really the same set minus one song. So I don't know. I felt a little bit more nervous than I normally do at any given show.
Yeah. So I guess because it's the new record.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, you guys crushed it, man. It was awesome.
Thank you.
So, let's see. I know Carrion Vael's. That's you guys are with Unique Leader. Is that right?
Correct. Yep.
Yeah. Is Severed Head Shop on a record label, or are you guys independent?
We're on an Italian label called Everlasting Spew Records.
Oh yeah, with Tito, right?
Yeah, Tito.
Yeah.
Just talking to him, over Messenger right before this.
Dude, he's the man of PR, man. He reaches out to everybody, dude. He crushes it.
Yeah, he is. That label and their grassroots promotion is unmatched. They really.
Yeah, he's done a really good job.
Yeah,
that's cool. So you're on Everlasting Spew then?
Yep.
All right,
that's
awesome,
that's cool
man.
Shit.
Severed Head Shops. So our drummer just finished up his tracks for our full length LP. That's been a long time in the works, and so potentially, hopefully, we'll be getting that out through the same label as well too. It's technically a record by record sort of deal thing. So hopefully they like it. And you'll be hearing it from that place too.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I was actually that's next up. I was gonna say I saw on your Facebook that guitars are in full swing this week. You guys are recording the new record for Severed Head Shop. And I was just wondering, like, is there any kind of I don't know, release date in mind? Like, is like later this year? Will it be next year that you think it might be out for the public ears?
Kind of just depends on where it fits on the label schedule at the end of the day. So on top of like I'll be working on my guitars through the end of this month and probably a bit of next month too. I'll also be handling all of the art panels for it as well. So I've got kind of all of that on my plate to finish up however long it might take. And this year is just, I know every label is cram packed full of releases. Just like tours are, it's kind of hard to compete. So
It's been crazy this year.
Yeah, it's a little nuts. But I'm kind of imagining that it'll push us off to sometime early next year for a release. But that's, I mean, it's kind of too early to say.
Yeah. And like I don't know, I've always wondered this, you know, everyone at the end of the year does their end of the year top 10. You know, you see it just littering social media with everybody's favorite albums of the year. Is like I've always wondered, is like, man, I guess where's the advantage point? You know, like where's the best place to release your album to try to be in people's thing? Like, is it towards the end of the year? Is it like the middle of the year? Because I notice everyone does it at the beginning of December, so it's like you don't want to be. I'm going to release it December 31st.
They'll even do it in November, you know, and it's like, well, shit, you got a whole month left, you know?
Yeah.
Like I always think about that when the Spotify Wrapped and all
Yeah,
that
that's in
comes out.
November.
It's like a whole month of releases that get left out.
Yep.
Sorry, guys.
Well, I wonder if it's just November to November then, you know, like could be. I don't know. So do you think there might be some tours with First Severed Head Shop in the, you know, I guess like maybe the future after the release then possibly?
I don't know how long a tour is. That band is kind of beholden to a couple of different work schedules that we work around. I know we have some weekend runs that I'm pretty excited about coming up. Things that haven't been announced yet. A little bit of like festivals and stuff as well.
Cool.
But like our bass player and it just has like a really like a factory job that only gives him so much time off every year, and he has like I think 3 to 5 bands that he's active in. So it's we take what we can get. We play a few shows and make the most of it. The Carrion Vael is a different story. We have a little bit more leeway, but Severed Head Shop, I think like the Thursday to Sunday weekend runs are more the standard for what we can get out and do with the band.
Yeah. Well, if you're able to fit a Houston show in, I'll come out. So
I'd love it. Yeah.
I'd love to see you guys. So yeah, definitely hit me up anytime you're coming to Houston, man.
We're still trying to get out a little bit further. We're not just trying to stay in the Indiana area. It's just it takes a lot of planning. I know we would love to get the band up to Canada as well. So there's the chance that like 1 to 2 week runs could be like a yearly thing for the band, but it is definitely more of a limited scope for Severed Head Shop show wise.
Yeah. Okay. So have you gotten to play Canada with Carrion Vael?
Yeah. So last year, almost this time of year, I think it was early May, we went up and did a 2-week run with APOC, a tech death band that's also Canadian. And it was kick ass. We did the East Coast. APOC, it was pretty much set up by Brett doing a lot of just leg work on his own, their bass player, Brett, I mean. And he did a great job. The tour was damn near just as good as the Lich tour, which I know you didn't get to see the best day of that, but even still, it was impressive that he put together what he did put together. And Canada really shows up too. I love it up there.
I was going to ask, I was wondering what the turnout is like there. I mean, there is so much good metal from Canada. It's crazy. Like,
yeah, and the further we went to the East Coast, the more we heard like people that were just grateful to have a show in their hometown. So it seemed like a lot of the cities were just places that even Canadian bands might not be able to go out and visit all the time. So I
But
don't
still good
know.
turnouts.
Yeah, great turnouts.
Yeah.
I don't think we really had a show that was below like 40 or 50 people, minus like the one double show we had in Quebec somewhere. So it was
nice.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. Awesome, man. Are there any upcoming tours or shows that are going to be coming through your area that you're not playing, that you kind of like it's on your list, like you'd like to go see? Is there anything you're kind of like excited about coming through?
Yeah, so in a couple of days, I think the 26th, I'm planning on going up and seeing the buds from Inferi. The Enterprise Earth tour is coming through, and playing the WC Social Club, and I don't think it's technically Chicago, but pretty close to Chicago, Illinois. So I've got to go see Inferi and say hi to all the buds from the Rags to Riffage tour.
Hell yeah. Hey, when you see them, tell them to say hi to me when they come down to Houston, because we're actually a part of promoting and we're sponsoring the Houston date for that tour. So we're kind of trying to dip our toes a little bit more outside of podcasting as well and get into some other stuff. But like I reached out to Radiation Productions, who's putting that show on here or part of booking it, and asked if we could be a part of it. So we've been trying to promote the shit out of it on our social media and stuff, and just see if we can help draw a crowd. I mean, Enterprise Earth and Inferi's Crown Magnetar, and Tracheotomy. I think they're all going to draw their own crowd, but we do what we can.
Yeah, that's fucking awesome.
Yeah. So, well, that's cool, man. Are there any other shows you're excited about?
I mean, I'm sure there are. I'm the worst at keeping track of dates. My wife's the one that usually keeps me in line with that. I tend to just kind of mark things down and save them, and as they come up, I scramble and make sure I have the money to get out there.
Yeah. There's two that come to my mind that I'm excited for, and that's Exhumed and Skeletal Remains are touring this summer, and then the Aborted, Arcspire, is it Alluvial in Carcosa, I think? Like that tour, that's going to be sick, man.
Fuck yeah. Those are not ones to miss.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that one's actually on a Saturday here. I was going to say that's one of the reasons I think the Houston date for you guys wasn't good. It was a Sunday night. Like the shows that come here, they're like Sunday, Tuesday, or Thursday night. And it's like, it's kind of hard to get out.
Yeah, it's kind of tough anywhere though. You kind of have to plan those weekday shows and hope for the best sometimes. But some places you do have better luck than others too. That wasn't the worst show in the world too. I think we still had like 40 people in the door or something that night. I'll take it.
Yeah, it was all right.
In India before, it was a lot less painful than that.
Yeah. Well, that's cool, man. I mean, it sounds like it was a fun tour. So, I mean, at least you guys had a good time. Got to see some new places and stuff. Are there any albums that have come out this year that are just like at the top of your listening list?
Man, from this year, so there's stuff coming up that I've been listening to that isn't technically released yet, that I'm very, very excited about. And there are some great releases as well. So I'm trying to think of the ones I'm actually allowed to say. I may have heard some preview Lish stuff that is pretty amazing.
Cool.
There's a band called Sentiment Dissolve that their vocalist actually filled in for Carrion Vael while we were up in Canada. They have an album coming out just next month that is excellent as well. My buddy who plays in Entangled and Parasites with me, Burned in Effigy, also has an album coming out this year that got kind of early access to that is just kind of mind-blowing to me. I think his guitar work is extremely inspiring. So those three I would recommend. It's a band called Maimed from our area and a band called Crypt Rot from our area that just put out kind of the former is more like an old school death metal album, and the latter is more like a slam sort of thing. I think those are
Okay.
things I would recommend anyone to check out. Same drummer, he's rad.
All right. Cool. That's awesome. We'll keep an ear out for those whenever they get released. That'll be sweet.
Last two are out, so those can be checked out currently.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna go look for those. I guess. So, are you a gearhead at all? Like, what kind of gear are you playing with?
I wouldn't necessarily call myself a gearhead. I reluctantly use decent stuff. um, the So my main guitars have a few Kiesels at home. They're the Vader series. So my back is pretty shitty, and the guitars are like chambered body and headless. They have as much chopped off the bottom as you can, so it's like a 5-pound guitar. So I'm really big on those. And Carrion Vael, I've been using a Jackson Warrior, the Dave Davison model, and that one's also like amazingly light for just as pointy and ridiculous of a guitar as it is. So I'm all about lightweight guitars. As far as like amps, in Severed Head Shop, I'm using a dual rectifier, just a regular old combo that I've had since high school, and Carrion Vael, the whole rig that we use for that band is pretty much all Travis's mastermind, our vocalist. So I know less of the details of that. I know we have both Trenton and I are running through a Kemper, which is modeled one of his KSR Orthos heads, and we have some kind of a preamp that goes through, and then that goes through a couple of KSR cabs as well. But anything more detailed than that, and I'm pretty much like a clueless idiot.
Cool. Well, I'm not gonna lie. A lot of that is like foreign language to me. I'm not much of a gearhead. Zoomy knows a bit more about some of the gear stuff, but I've been seeing and hearing Kemper stuff a lot, and I guess I need to go like really look into what that is and does, because like I know it's either you guys or somebody in the Lich, like you brought out like a server rack, right? Like just a shitload of computer stuff on there, and I was just like, damn, man. I'm playing. I have a little Spark practice amp in my loft upstairs, like just two little 4-inch speakers.
Nothing wrong with that. That's actually Lich and Carrion have a really, really similar just setup to one another, which makes it convenient for explaining it all to the sound guy before the show. But it looks more complicated, I think, to the guitarist perspective when you look at the monster, just because of everything that's in it. But a lot of that is like the wireless units, the in-ears, the bass shit is all shoved in there as well. So it's like everyone's stuff is kind of stuffed into this giant 100-pound monstrosity. And it looks intimidating, but everyone just kind of has to know their little nook and cranny of it, and then
Okay.
go.
Yeah, that's cool. It's a light traveling, right? Like packing light, really. Like you're not carrying around all the extra equipment.
Compact traveling. It doesn't feel light when you have 2 to 3 people trying to lift it up and get it over the like the merch extension on the back of the van and into the back of the van.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah,
my back's killing me from that.
Damn. All right. Well, cool. I mean, sounds cool. I mean, I'm gonna need to look into those things and see what they do and stuff. Like, I'd like to learn more about gear and stuff. So I've been looking at new guitars and stuff too. I'm shopping all the time.
I'm lucky to have people around me who are much more gear focused than me. I kind of show up and know my parts reliably, and everyone else keeps the gear running, I guess, otherwise.
And as long as you know your parts, that's what matters, right?
Yep. Yep.
Well,
way to rock that Jackson Warrior though.
I love that.
That's my kind of guitar, man. I love it. Even I'm like you. It is a total ridiculous looking thing, but it is a pretty sweet guitar all around. And my buddy has one, and he got a good deal on it. And he was like, "You ought to come over and play this thing." And then after finally figuring out how to get that Floyd Rose where it kind of needed to
Yep.
be, geez, Floyd Rose, I love him. I hate
It's
him.
the first one I've ever really spent any time with, to be honest. Even the Kiesel guitars I have are like it's a hip shot. It is a tremolo, but it's a lot more simple. There's no locking nut at the top or anything to deal with. So the Floyd was a hurdle to overcome for me as well. um,
Yeah, you almost have to like stand on your head to get
Yeah.
that thing or the way you need
I
it.
don't but that is a great deal of a guitar, though. And amazingly lightweight
Yeah,
for what
that's
it is.
fun, man. I didn't even think of that, but whenever you said it, that makes sense. It is a pretty lightweight guitar.
that's cool. My guitar is heavy as hell. That I have my dad was in the Air Force, and he spent like 9 months in Korea, South Korea, like doing they called like working remote, going remote for a while. So we stayed in the States. He went to Korea for a while, but when he came back, he brought me a handmade solid body, like neck through Mr. Potato, like Korean handmade guitar. And I changed out the pickups to EMGs. This was like 20 years ago. So like that, I changed out the pickups and stuff. And it was 6-string. I've always tuned it down to B, like B standard. And, but that thing, man, I think with that, and I had a guitar strap. I still have it, but it's got bullets, like brass casings, and it's not light, man. I think the strap itself is probably 4 pounds, and then damn guitar is like solid body, so it's super heavy. It's a heavy setup, man. My shoulders and neck would be sore after we go play a show somewhere, like back in college and stuff. But it was fun. It looked cool.
Yeah, that's an awesome thing to have anyway, just for the kind of the story behind it.
Yeah. And I still have it. I still play it. I just recently bought my first 7-string. I wanted to try it out, so I bought a $200 Jackson Dinky 7-string. Like the only one they carry at Guitar Center. And it's pretty cool, actually. I've been enjoying it. So I spend my evenings scrolling the internet for much more expensive guitars that I can't afford. So
That is the daily life of every guitarist, I think. I'm right
Yeah.
there with
right on, man. How many guitars do you have?
Good question. Most of them I think 6. I think 8 total. There's one borrowed here as well. So
all
I think
right.
9 in the building, and 8 of them are mine.
Awesome. That's cool.
I left one out. 9 are mine. 10 in the building.
Man, I think I have 4 right now, I guess. Maybe 5. At one point, I think I had 10, and I had to sell a bunch of them. But, college.
Hold a couple.
I don't think you can ever have too many, to be honest. It's funny because I'll grab one and I'll start playing, and my wife will be like, "Where'd you get that guitar?" And I'm like, "This whole thing? Are you kidding?"
Had it for years. It's been under the bed.
Yeah. Usually I've got them all in cases, kind of stacked over here or over there, and then I'll think to myself like, "Oh, I want to play this one tonight," and so. I don't know. It's still a lot of fun to play all the different guitars.
I mean, there's all sorts of purposes. There's all the tunings. There's plenty of justifications for every guitar you want to own.
Absolutely.
I heard a saying. It was like a meme, and it was really funny. It's like the whole "teach a man to fish," kind of saying or whatever. And it says, and I may have even said it on one of our shows before, but it's steal a man's wallet and he'll go hungry for a week. Teach him to play music and buy instruments and he'll be poor forever.
That's good.
It's funny.
It's true.
Oh, man. Well, I don't have any more like formal questions for you, man. Like we've gone through the list. I guess like the last one I think is just kind of I think with Severed Head Shop, I already got the answer. Like, what are the goal? What's in store for your bands and for Ryan for the rest of 2024?
Sure. So really, over the last like 12 months or so, I've done, I think, 4 tours, which amounts to like 70 odd shows between just music and the few like art shows I've done in that time, which is kind of, it covers the majority of like US and Canada overall, that like once or twice. So I have a little bit of downtime right now. Carrion Vael just got an album out, and kind of using that time to actually get some music recorded. So Entangled and Parasites, the drums just got finished up, or sorry, Severed Head Shop, drums just got finished up, and I'm starting guitars. Entangled and Parasites, the drums are just getting started, and then I'll get going on those guitars. So kind of getting, like, 'cause Carrion Vael is really a band that only has writing from the other guitar player. And so I feel like it's important with these next couple albums to get something with my kind of stamp of guitar playing on it now into the world. Now that I've kind of been around the country once or twice, it's feels like the right time to kind of get my music out there to kind of the people I've met over that time, and then do it all again, hopefully.
Awesome, man. So I guess I do have another question for you. I know you mentioned that you do the visual art.
Sure.
Right.
Sure.
So, I mean, have you been, I think you did one of your murals or like an artwork you did was in one of the recent Carrion Vael like videos, right? Have you been commissioned by other bands or anything? Or like, tell us a little bit about like your art side.
Sure. So art is, so in college, my degree was a drawing and painting degree, which is, you know, you might laugh at, but has
Not at all.
served me well in some musical purposes. So that the mural for Carrion Vael is actually right there. I've done a lot with my bands over time. You mentioned you checked out the Fuckening. The album cover for that is actually like a 7-foot tall charcoal drawing that I did. It used to be pinned up to this wall back there. It's like 3 pieces of paper, 7 foot by 7 foot.
Dang.
The other bands over time, I've done a couple of things. This year I did a t-shirt design for Aetherius, which Carrion Vael's drummer is also in. And they're on tour right now with Pathology, Necrotic Gore Beast. And the painting I did is the long sleeve that they're selling on that tour. There's been
cool.
a couple of other things over time. The first one I almost did was the album cover for Blood Red Throne's Union of Flesh and Machine. But they hit me up about it after I'd shown them some art. And when I wrote them back and waited for the response, I went and checked and realized I never actually sent the email. So that was like my first commission and loss in the metal world.
Dang.
So it is what it is. But yeah, there's been a few other things over time. I haven't done anyone else's album cover yet, but there's an unannounced thing for this year that will finally fix that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
Hopefully
And,
much more in the future.
Yeah, very exciting.
Yeah, that's cool.
Very exciting.
Thank you.
Awesome. So you do a lot. So you spend a lot of your spare time doing art then? Like is there just stuff for just you?
Yeah, I mean, most of the art I do really is kind of just geared for selfish purposes currently, whether it be my own bands or whatever else. But I think there's kind of a constant flux or battle between how much time I'm spending on art versus music. If I kind of get going on guitar for the night, it's kind of like that's going to take over the next 4 or 5 hours, whatever. Whereas if I really get knee deep in a painting or something, that's just going to be like my whole week is going to get consumed by that until the 40 hours or whatever I have to put in it is done and that, that piece is finished. And then I can focus on guitar and totally shove out art again for a while. It's just kind of weird how that goes into flux naturally, I guess.
I think it's cool that you have multiple things. I'm sure each one inspires the other, in some way. So it's
Absolutely.
Cool that you can express yourself in more than one artistic way, right? Like I'm not artistic, like at all. Like I can't draw for shit or paint or anything unless it's a wall. I'm really good at painting walls and stuff. Like paint your trim, your doors. Like
I was about to jump
Yeah.
in and say that's not true.
yeah, I could paint your house, but yeah, you know, not a mural or anything, but I can make it look nice. So I think that's really cool that you have both of those outlets that you excel in, you know, and I don't use that term loosely either. Like from what I've seen, you're very good at both. So, you know, hats off to you. Definitely looking forward to seeing more art and music from the Ryan Kuder camp. Just
Thank you.
Just excited for all the work you do, and hope I get to come see another show sometime soon, man.
Oh man,
For sure.
I really hope. I mean, I love Oklahoma too, so I hope I'm coming through at least there or Dallas or something
Yeah.
nearby. So it was good
That's
hanging out
it.
with you and meeting you.
Awesome.
Cool. Well, Zoomy, Greg, do you guys have any questions for Ryan?
Man, you covered everything I had. I mean, everything I put into the list. So you knocked it out of the park, man.
All
It was
right.
great listening to everything, man. Ryan, you're very interesting. What's your artwork? Social media.
Honestly, a lot of it just gets posted through my personal page at this point, which is all very public and set for anyone to follow.
Cool.
I do
Cool. I'll
have
follow it.
a Ryan Kuder visual art page, but with the way like Facebook and Instagram is, it's if I post things through there, no one sees it.
I know how it goes. I had a photography page that didn't do shit. Yep.
Yep. You know the struggle.
So I know all the band members I have on my Facebook. It would blow, live photography, and yeah, I know exactly what you mean. So
Anyone that wants to follow my public profile, like by all means, go ahead. That's
cool.
or you guys, please add me as a friend. So
Sweet.
Yeah. I know I've already done
awesome.
that, and I think I followed you with the Metal Block page as well. So
Cool.
yeah, I think we're following just about everything you've got going on, man. So
you guys are
Awesome.
the best.
Well, thanks a lot for talking to us. For sure, we really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It was awesome to be
Yeah.
here.
yeah, we've been excited to have you on. Thank you so much for joining us and helping us be a part of your life and the metal community. And just thanks, man. Keep doing you, and just keep metal alive, brother.
Like I
You know?
said, I've gotten to do very, very few of these things, so it actually means a lot that you guys even wanted to have me on. So thank you.
Cool.
And I hope you guys and you said you're getting a project back together.
Trying to, yeah, absolutely.
Slowly. Yeah. Mhm.
Make sure someone's sending that my way so I can follow and be in the
All right, man. We'll
Awesome.
do.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Most
Yeah.
definitely.
Awesome. Well, Ryan, thank you. And it was a great conversation, man. And we will definitely let you know when this is going live for streaming and stuff. And Zoomy, you want to take us away?
Yeah, it was a great show. I had a really fun time just sitting back and listening. And this couldn't be any more fun, just getting to sit back and talk about some metal. So hope everybody out there also enjoyed that time that, we just get to sit and chat and talk to a bunch of different people, listen about what's going on out there. It's super exciting to me. I hope it's exciting to everybody. Thanks again. And Metal Block, over and out.
Later.
Later, blockheads.